Well, good day. So, seeing as the new Spinal Tap movie is out, I figured this is the perfect time to talk about their first cartoon appearance. So, alright, let's go.
Yeah. So, we start off at 724 Evergreen Terrace, where Bart Simpson is super pumped up about going to the Spinal Tap concert, as Homer slams back a really quick beer before he drives Bart to the show. Oh my god! Okay, we all know that Homer has a massive problem, but the fact that he's not even hiding it, and everyone is so used to see him doing stuff like this, oh, that hurts. That really hurts. So Homer, with his blood alcohol level still in legal limits, I guess, goes to pick up Milhouse as they head to the Springfield Coliseum as they get ready for the really big show. Also getting ready for the show is Spinal Tap, with Derek Smalls, Michael St. Hubbins, and Nigel Tufnel. They are having a quick interview with Bill and Marty from KBBL Radio and are discussing the fall of the Soviet Union, because realistically, nothing says heavy metal quite like politics. Later, the sound check is complete. The crowd is getting pumped up, and BAM! Spinal Tap finally sets foot on stage as they start rocking the place with their brand new song, Break Like the Wind, and things are going fantastic! Great music, great crowd, so good! But during the song, Majesty of Rock, things start to go wrong, as they usually do with Spinal Tap. The inflatable decorative devil is only inflated half full, or, well, I guess half empty, depending how you look at things, and is threatening to crush the drummer. And just on a quick side note, I really hope this drummer is able to survive the tour. He seems like a good guy. But even worse, the stage is completely full of water because the arena has a hockey rink, but the stage is elevated, so how is it full of water? That doesn't make any sense. And none of the cues for the lights or the lasers are working at all. So with all of this combined, Spinal Tap is fed up. Done. They pick up their guitars and leave the stage early, much to the disappointment of all the fans, but of course, things get much worse as Otto and Snake start a riot! A riot at a metal show? Who the hell do these guys think they are? Guns N' Roses? But Bart gets home safe, and Homer eventually remembers that Milhouse was there too. But beyond that, Bart is inspired! He wants to become a metal guitarist. So he gets a guitar and he starts to learn from scratch, with Lisa not helping at all. Seeing as she is already very good at the saxophone, she just loves to rub it in Bart's face that she's good at an instrument and he's not. Wow, for someone who had to learn how to play the saxophone, you'd think she'd have a bit of compassion, somebody learning an instrument for the first time, right? No, sadly, with siblings, no. Later, on the school bus, when Otto sees Bart's guitar, man, he just can't help himself. He grabs the 6-string axe and just starts playing like a madman, And holy crap, Otto is fantastic at the guitar! Why is he driving the school bus? Why isn't he in a band? Oh, yeah, right. He destroyed his brain. But with this, Otto puts on a quick little impromptu concert for all the kids on the school bus. But this concert goes on a little too long, and now the children are in danger of being late for school. So Otto has to put the pedal to the metal and rush to school at breakneck speed. On the way there, he takes a shortcut through the Springfield Tire Fire and a final shortcut through Spinal Tap's tour band. Oh, the poor drummer. Oh. But at least the bus lands at the feet of the Jebediah Springfield statue. Total disaster. Worse yet, all this happened with Otto actually not having a driver's license. So that's it! That's the last straw! Principal Skinner has no choice but to fire Otto! And it's a good thing that he did, man. Like, that is super... Wait, sorry, what? He didn't fire Otto? He's just forcing Otto to get his driver's license so he can resume driving the bus? What? Really? Did you see what he did? How nobody got hurt? Well, besides Spinal Tap, how no one got hurt is just unfathomable. And the property damage, man. Oh my god. Like, not fired? Not even arrested? Huh? Does Springfield even have vehicular laws? Even in Shelbyville, you'd get arrested for something, you know? Jeez. So Otto, tries to get a driver's license with Patty at the DMV, but, Otto is Otto. It's a disaster of a driving test, and he is denied. And rightfully so. Not too many times I really cheer on Patty for stuff that she does, but in this case, 2 thumbs up. At this point, Otto's life is completely falling apart. He got evicted from his apartment and is now living in a low-grade dumpster. Bart sees him and he kind of feels bad for the guy, right? Like, Otto tries, man, like he really does, but he just can't hit the mark on life. So Bart invites him to live in his garage, which isn't his garage per se, to offer. Marge is kind of on board, right? Like, well, he's a good kid. We should give him a chance. I think it would be neat. But Homer doesn't want any of this slacker's garbage lying around. So he says, no. Unfortunately, the old saying, happy wife, happy life, and Marge gets her way. But Homer and Otto are at complete odds with each other throughout this whole arrangement. It's driving both of them insane. Basically, it's like the Odd Couple, but Homer is the clean and smart one, That's how bad this is. So Homer is fed up, he doesn't want Otto around, and he kicks him out of the house. Later, Otto really wants to stick it to Homer, prove that he's not a sponge. So he goes back to Patty at the DMV to retry his driving license test. And quickly, the two of them really bond over their shared hatred of Homer J. Simpson. So even with Otto completely failing his test horribly, Patty cares more about showing spite to Homer than having safe drivers on the road. So she gives Otto a passing grade, so he can continue to be a menace to commuters and students alike. So I guess the day is saved? Hooray! And with that is the end of this metal episode.
Yes! Spinal Tap and Simpsons? You can't go wrong. Well, unless you're Spinal Tap, then yeah, everything goes wrong, I guess. Seeing as everything tends to go disastrously for them, it is pretty awesome to see things go disastrously for them in cartoon form. It doesn't even feel like a parody, it just feels like a continuation of their story. But man, oh man, this episode as a whole, hey? Good. It really does bring me back to a lot of different things in my life. Like, I'm sure we can all remember when we went to our first big concert. For me, it was seeing Midnight Oil with my brother and my dad. And yes, my dad went to the concert. He didn't sit in the car like Homer did in this episode, which I really don't get why he did that. If you drive your kid and his buddy to a show, like, why wouldn't you go to the show? You're right there. I also remember buying a cheap red electric guitar, and starting to play on that and trying to get guitar lessons and not doing that good at it, but I was still kind of in a band, so, it worked out. I also really love the little sight gag on the back of Bart's Spinal Tap tour t-shirt. It's a world tour that only shows 4 cities on it. Which, as a rock fan in Canada, yeah, man, that's pretty much how it goes. A quote-unquote Canadian tour consists of the band going to Toronto. And if you're really lucky, maybe they go to Montreal, maybe they go to Vancouver, And for a short time, they would wind up in Edmonton, which for me was great. But yeah, 4 cities at the most, a tour does not make. Well, I guess it does, but really, it doesn't. And the rest of the episode is pretty awesome too, right? Like everything that happened with Otto? How this character survives, I have no idea, man. But somehow, he persists. But yes, indeed, man. Like, if you haven't seen this episode before, I would highly suggest you do. Back in the golden age of Simpsons, where everything was just fantastic. But with that, we do have some more behind-the-scenes kind of things with Spinal Tap and all that kind of stuff going on over here.
So yes, indeed, hey?
Spinal Tap!
One of the greatest fictional bands of all time.
So funny
And musically, so amazing. But how did such a fantastic band
come to be. Well, for that, we shall tiptoe through the time tulips and take a looky-loo.
Firstly, we shall be taking a look at
The late 1960s.
there was a satire comedy group called
The Credibility
Gap, and they worked in and basically for
The Los Angeles radio station, KRLA, 1110 AM dial.
which was pretty funny and became pretty popular. After a couple of the original members of this troupe left,
They got a couple new replacements in.
those being
Harry Shearer,
and
Michael McCain,
as these two started to become more acquainted with each other,
and started to work on their comedic chemistry together.
eventually the Credibility Gap disbanded. Harry Shearer stayed on the radio station as a DJ,
And eventually,
Michael McCain found himself on.
The Laverne and Shirley Show.
Eventually on the show, McCain's character
Lenny
and Lenny's best friend Squiggy formed a band
called Lenny and the Squigtones,
which was a parody of classic 1950s rock and roll, and it showed McCain as a real,
musician.
not just an actor pretending to play guitar.
Nay, he was the guitarist
And
lead singer.
And this fictional band was good enough to have their own album released in
1979,
which was titled
Lenny and Squiggy
Present.
Lenny and the Squigtones.
So, not only did Michael McCain and David Lander
Reprised their roles as Lenny and Squiggy for this album.
but also Michael McCain brought along one of his buddies from college to play guitar on the album,
His buddy known
as
Christopher Guest,
who, on this album, went under the name.
Nigel Tufnel.
So, making a parody band with a lot of really awesome music, is obviously a lot of fun to do. So Michael McCain wanted to continue doing this. He teamed up with filmmaker Rob Reiner to create a fake heavy metal band for the sketch comedy special called
The TV Show.
which was a show that was a parody of variety shows, which is kind of funny because a variety show is kind of a parody onto itself. But, here we are. In the sketch, Rob Reiner portrayed himself as legendary DJ Wolfman Jack. Ow! And introduced the heavy metal band from England called
Spinal Tap.
This special was released in 1979, so this is indeed the first time we see
Spinal Tap.
They didn't exactly have the same iconic Spinal Tap logo, and none of the band members were actually named at this point. It was just an awesome band playing a song called Rock and Roll Nightmare. But for the band themselves, you had Michael McCain being the guitarist and
Lead singer
he again brought along his buddy from college,
Christopher Guest as the lead guitarist.
and he was reunited with his old buddy from the Credibility Gap.
Harry Shearer on bass.
The other musicians were Loudon Wainwright III and Russell Crunknell. Pretty good. This little segment really got the creative juices flowing, and they all figured, we have a band, we can write some awesome music. Why don't we see how far we can go with this? Let's make a fake documentary on this band called Spinal Tap, to which they did! The mockumentary film, This is Spinal Tap, was released in 1984! As we see Spinal Tap trying to make a comeback concert tour while promoting their new album, Smell the Glove, as they tour throughout the United States, as things go disastrously. Also, the band members did get their fictional names. Michael McKenna played David St. Hubbins. Christopher Guest reused the name Nigel Tufnel from the Lenny and the Squigtones album, and Harry Shearer portrayed Derek Smalls. Also, Rob Reiner portrayed the character of the filmmaker known as Marty DeBurgery. And this movie was a massive success. Not only is it funny, but musically, like, holy crap, these guys can play, and these guys can write fantastic music. The soundtrack for this movie is just absolutely mint, man, like, mwah, so freaking fantastic, like a real rock album. Although technically, from our viewpoint, this album would be considered a greatest hits album, as it does feature the band's music throughout their fictional history, which would include back when the band was originally called The Famesmen, as a 1960s beat pop kind of a band, to when they changed their name to Spinal Tap and became a psychedelic rock band, to when they changed their genre to heavy metal in the 1970s. This album encapsulates all of that, and this album is amazing. If you haven't bought it yet, man, do it! The band also came back together in 1992 for another rockumentary called The Return of Spinal Tap, which was showing their 25th anniversary tour. You know, pretty cool. Along with this film, they released their second album, which is so fantastic, and is called Break Like the Wind. These guys, eh? And also in 1992 is when we get to this featured Spinal Tap Simpsons episode, which is another reunion of sorts. Harry Shearer is a voice actor for The Simpsons, portraying multiple characters on the show, so to have Christopher Guest and Michael McCain kind of come back and hang out with him on the show as Spinal Tap is awesome to see. So now we are caught up with Spinal Tap on their cartoon debut. But this is definitely not the end of Spinal Tap. So, seeing as the band is so popular and their music is so amazing, the actors will from time to time get together and go play live shows at different festivals or whatever kind of a gig. You will always see Spinal Tap live in some form of another. Even if it's acoustic, you know, like still, it's Spinal Tap. So, no matter what, man, like where there's music to be cranked loud, there will be Spinal Tap. But this was kind of a longer video, so, you know, like, we could go on and on about Spinal Tap, but for the other stuff, we will get to it when we get to it. So, with this, that, those, and the other things, I guess, sir, that's that. Also, if you're interested, I created my own comic book channel, 215 Comics, and currently I have created my own cartoon series, The Adventures of the Density, and recently started a radio series featuring my newest character, Elastomorph, with more titles to come. So if you want to check it out, I'll leave a link up top here to that channel, and some links at the end of the video. Yeah! Right on, and there you go. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you liked it as much as I did making it. Also, feel free to check out the source material that I featured in this video. And if you want to leave a comment on anything you may have liked or things I might have missed in this, you know, feel free to do so. Or anything else, you know, just to say hi. That's cool too. And other than that, you know, have a great day. Thanks.